Roy, did you ever get to fly? Did you ever get the experience of flying with a plane full of smoke?
I used to dream about smoking. I've never even smoked a cigarette, and I used to dream about it.
Okay.
The flights would have a smoking section.
Oh, is that what they did?
Yeah. So if you smoked, you were in row whatever through whatever.
Delicious.
All right, everyone, we are ready and we are rolling. So whenever you guys are ready, we'll
Was the smoking part, was that being recorded?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was hoping so.
Section of it, anyways.
This is going to be the clunky.
Not the part where Roy discussed his father rolling cigarettes.
Oh.
Literally ended. I made an ageism joke, and it cut. Roy just like laughed.
As it should.
He was that offended.
Well,
It was redacted.
I remember, though, I'm just old enough to remember the first time the rule just came in. It was my sister's wedding, and the rule just came in that you weren't allowed to smoke in the car with kids in the car or something. It was an actual law now. And
Thank God.
everybody was like, all the smokers were mad. I was mad because I thought like, whole bunch of people in my family smoke, so I thought that's not fair. And I remember one of the groomsmen asked me, he said, can I smoke? Do you mind if I smoke in the car? Because everybody's like, this is a dumb rule, but like, I got to ask you now. And I was like a little kid, and I was like, no, of course, it's fine.
Go ahead.
That's so funny.
It may shock everyone to know I am an asthmatic.
Who loves people smoking around him.
Oh.
Yeah. By about 7, I was going to the doctor for my asthma medication.
No idea why.
No, I don't know where that came from. But anyway, let's get into some topics. Let's try. This has interview or episode has gone terrible.
It can only go uphill from here, right?
I don't know. It seems like we keep finding a new way.
You'll see. We'll see.
I don't want to go first.
Jerrod's shopping on Amazon.
I was gonna say, like, actually, yours was kind of interesting. I was like, your Roy's tips and tricks, and
Roy sent me this negotiating thing, and I've been negotiating out of ourselves. I cannot talk. I have been
rattled.
I want to say this sentence. I have been negotiating ourselves out of great deals for the last 2 years. Oh. And so Roy sent me. Roy, is that like a course that you did internally, or is that something you've done for other people? I read the one that actually it actually mentioned specifically cementation.
Yeah, it started out as an internal course. Like we had a leadership development program, so I did the negotiations course, and then a couple other companies, not competitors, but actually companies that had subcontracted to us or that we were affiliated with. I did it for them as well. So it's and to be quite honest, I was a student of it. And I think I even mentioned it in the document. I acknowledged a few different groups, either books that I'd read or seminars that I'd attended. So how's the saying go? If you steal from one person, it's plagiarism. If you steal from more than one, it's research.
That's right. That's exactly what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So I assembled this from different groups, and so there's some great learnings in there from different people.
Well, I pulled a few things out that I thought I was trying to, because some of them were sort of skill level, but there's some things that are, that anybody can do, because there are like communication skills and that, which are a hard thing to teach. But there's certain things that if you do it, you'll at least, even if you're a bad negotiator, you'll get a better result. The first one was not about giving in. How do you both get a win? And I do think there's sort of this sense sometimes of like, how much do I have to give up to get this deal done? And I've done that in negotiations, and it's a disaster, because what you end up doing is you end up backing up to a point where you can't, and then you have to like dig your heels in because you just can't go any further back. rather than reframing it so you're both trying to figure out how do we actually get to the goal we're trying to. You've done it more than either one of us, Roy. So that's the one that stood out for me, though, as the first thing when I was reading through that.
Let's talk about our heavy industry tour brought to you by Orica Digital Solutions. Blast IQ Underground provides quality control and improved underground drill and blast productivity for superior blast outcomes. Effectively manage the underground blasting process from planning to post-blast analysis with user-friendly reporting, analytics, and information management. We are heading to events across North America and Australia and filming episodes on location. Email us at info@crownsmen.com to be part of Crownsmen's heavy industry tour.
Pumping systems. They're the heartbeat of manufacturing, but they can be real headaches, can't they? Vibration, pulsation, back pressure, it's a wonder anything gets done efficiently or safely. That's where Blaco comes in. Their pulsation dampeners, back pressure valves, and other solutions are designed to tame the chaos, improve efficiency, and add reliability and safety to your pumping system. Imagine less downtime, lower maintenance costs, and a whole lot less stress. That's the Blaco difference. Blaco Industries, smooth flow, smooth operation, made in the USA. Visit Blaco.com to learn more. Attention builders, we've got everything you need to know about the grit and grind of the construction world in one show. The Construction Show is where you can share your expert techniques and strategies to help keep the crew strong and construction sites secure. From foundational tips, industry trends, safety strategies to advanced equipment and machinery. Be part of the voice of construction. Book your episode and showcase your company to millions worldwide. Visit crownsmen.com.
Well, you know, when I do give this course, when I talk to people about it, the negotiation, like some people dread it. Some people love it. I'm kind of in between, but the part I really like is the creativity part. And I think people don't see that. They see we're going to go in and we're going to hammer out a deal. We're going to have to give up some stuff. We're going to get some stuff. But, you know, you had the key word there, Jerrod, of reframing. That's all part of creativity. It's looking at the big picture and saying, you know, what do people really need from this deal? How can we both win? And kind of stepping back and being creative about it.
I had a question to both of you on this, Jerrod, because you've been doing quite a bit of it recently. I'm going to be, well, I've done some smaller ones, but I'm going to be doing like more negotiation. It looks like coming soon here. Do you think when you don't have an understanding, like the Getting the Yes book, it talks about all these like different like principles to follow with negotiating, and they talk about in chapter 8 like what happens if somebody's using dirty tricks. So I'm pulling it up here. So like there's things like well, we always talk about you want to separate the people from the problem, but there's issues where people, like common tricky tactics that people use is like deliberate deception, phony facts, ambiguous authority. Like there's all these like different types of like tricky tactics that people use. Do you think that if you don't have an understanding on negotiation, you end up actually falling into those by accident, like personally?
Well,
do you think that can be a case?
This is what I mean by like just technical skills. Like we just did a negotiation where I didn't find out till the end that the person wasn't even the person that was signing the deal.
Yeah, they didn't have signing authority.
And that's not being good or bad. That's just knowing is one of your check marks. Well, who is actually going to sign this? Mm-hmm. And anybody can adopt that skill. You just need to find out that answer. You can ask. So, are we talking just to get things prepped up, or who actually signs off? You can just ask the question. Anybody can ask that, and you can eliminate so much headache. Like sometimes months of back and forth because you're like, why is this person? They're not, Rory. Sometimes they're not even doing tricky tactics. They're just having to. Mm-hmm. They're just getting told to ask
their job.
Yeah, and
it's their stage of the negotiation in their mind.
And you're like, why are you adding?
Well, there's the famous story where this is not like in the book. It talks about it like I can't even remember what it falls under, but the Prime Minister of England thought he had a deal with Germany in like 1939, and then so he left thinking he had a deal, and that's when Germany just started taking over everything. So it was just like people use all kinds of different things to try and get their way, basically.
I wonder what tactic he could have used to avoid that result.
Probably none. Probably none.
I just always remember the commercial. You know, the famous. How's it go? This is dog chow's finest hour. Anyway,
Uh-oh. What's happening?
the dog chow commercial where the English bulldog has a Winston Churchill voice. Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
Where were we? Negotiations.
This is a side thing though. Rory just brought up another one is, and I'm quite curious, Rory, with your experience is also though, is I think we sometimes get into this frame like we need to craft out all these strategies and that. You also don't, sometimes it's not, if you identify that someone is wasting your time, sometimes you put it in that presentation that you sent over, is knowing where your stop points are. And a stop point might be, do we even want to work with these people anymore? Like that might be a stop point to go, they're not honest.
Did you know cementitious binders can be responsible for up to 70% of the total GHG footprint of mine backfilling processes? Now you can replace up to 50% of the binder in your mine backfill operations with Graybond, Graymond's new low-carbon cementitious binder. This lime-based alternative binder maintains a 40 to 70% lower GHG footprint compared to typical cement and can adapt to varying mine conditions without compromising performance. Learn more about Graybond at graybond.com. Join us in the depths of the mining world, where global leaders and industry giants converge to shape the future of mining. From groundbreaking technologies, advanced machinery, revolutionary safety measures, to sustainable initiatives. This is the voice of mining. This is Mining Now. Showcase your company to millions worldwide. Book your episode now. Visit crownsmen.com.
Because, Rory, you mentioned some of the, if you want to call them dirty tactics, whatever.
Yep.
Sometimes people don't realize they're doing it. Like, I always like to give people the benefit of the doubt. So one example is a false sense of urgency. And that's kind of a standard, the group with the greatest sense of urgency has the disadvantage in any negotiation. So when the other party is creating a false sense of urgency, I would see that as a dirty tactic. But a lot of people just say, well, we want to get it done. We have to get it done by this day because I'm going on holidays next week. And so you're trying to rushing to get things done when in reality, if it's not where everyone wants it to be, you need to step back, reset the timeline, and really understand how urgent is the timeline in reality.
That's one of
my point is sometimes people aren't doing that on purpose
For sure.
to submarine you. They think that's the way it's done.
I've done that before to people. Been like, okay, well, I want to get this done, so let's get it done. Like I know that I've been that person, and I'm not trying to. It's just lack of skill. I'm just trying to be efficient, and I'm ruining stuff. I know it.
Yeah, you think you're going to be doing that, and it's going to get it done quicker, so everything's going to go better. But then they see it as like, well, now I can't even go through this. I can't think on what's going to be best, and then all of a sudden, just everything falls apart.
With that said, if you're going slow, but you lose sight of the vision of what you're trying to accomplish together,
also,
then it just gets into a swamp, and you're going nowhere.
That book is so, and I'm looking through the presentation, Roy. It's titled Negotiations, November 2016 presentation and notes, right? That you sent to us. Is that the one?
Yeah,
that's what
I think so.
To. But yeah, and I like it because you're pulling in slides from it looks like a bunch of different information, which is really, I had forgotten that you'd sent this, so now I get to actually go through this because it'll be really helpful.
I have a snooze factor. I have this snooze thing on my email, so I have all these. Like Rory, you sent me something about bonds, I think. So I have these. Yeah, you sent me something a couple weeks. So I just have all these things snoozed that I have to read through that people send me.
Yeah.
So it's a very handy tool because I don't remember them until I get this notification like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to read this. And then there's a couple things about listening that you put in there, Rory, and I think, again, these are two things that anybody can do, is a good venue don't just put the environment matters. If you put people in a bad environment, it's not thoughtful. It's just sort of what's available. You will notice it sets the tone of when people walk in a room. And the other thing I know, this is a simple one, but being well rested. You know, you're going to have so much stress. There could possibly be conflict. There could be people being deceptive. Why give yourself that extra pain? I don't know if I'm one of those people. I read the Carnegie thing you just sent me, Roy, is get rest before you're tired. I like to go right to my max and then I just pass out.
Well, there's, and that's as you get, at the risk of an ageism joke from Rory, the young whippersnapper.
No more of those. It's really
none happening again.
Yeah, the older you get, the worse it gets. I'll tell you right now. And the other aspect of, if you are working internationally and you're traveling and you're in a different time zone, and I don't mean Toronto to Vancouver, but if you're Vancouver to London and you're in a negotiation, right away, the home office, the London office has an advantage.
Right.
Because no matter what, maybe there are some people that don't get jet lag, but they are very few and far between. And you will be tired and you will be struggling unless you've been there for a week. So it's something you have to, think about and maybe try and compensate for.
I will give a little physical trick to people is one, eat a limited amount on long flights. Get up and stretch on any flight. That's actually for blood clots and that too. But anyway, that's another side thing. You should stretch on flights. And the other thing is don't eat like I'll go to events and that, and I'm getting really tired because I'm running around doing like multiple episodes in that, and you've traveled and all that sort of thing. Get rid of any of the bread. So if you have like a steak sandwich, lose the bread. If you have like pulled pork,
bread,
yeah, take all the bread off, take anything out like that, and just eat protein, and you will not have the crashes.
One trick too is that basically get on that schedule as soon as you land. It's tough.
Mm-hmm.
It is really tough if you're going to land. But what you should do is if you land and you've been on the flight all night and it's daytime, don't have a nap. Wait until it's 9 o'clock. Go to sleep. Wake up. And it will typically help the recovery quicker.
Yeah, and food that your body can process. One last thing on this section, Roy, this is a tricky one. Admitting you can do better. You actually showed a sample. Was that that was a real email in that presentation that you basically said we didn't approach this right, and we ended up just defending our position and rather than trying to find a solution. I can't remember the exact wording. I found that very interesting.
It's really important to build trust in a negotiation. And like Rory, you were talking about, if you're dealing with, it was an old saying, if you wrestle with a pig, you both get dirty. And I've said this before, and the pig will like it. There's some people out there that like the fight, but in general, not so much. And, you want to build trust. And one of the ways to build, if you make a mistake, admit it. And sometimes it's a hard thing to do. And some people may see it as a sign of weakness, but if you look at it a different way, and you're trying to rebuild trust or build trust with the group you're working with, then saying, I argued this in a meeting, but after thinking about it, I understand your viewpoint and I'm going to approach it a different way. And, that's okay.
It's crazy because as you're saying that though, Roy, I know for me personally, it would be hard to write that email. But yet if someone wrote that to me, it wouldn't even cross my, weakness wouldn't cross my mind. I would just think, no, this person's just trying to get this done in a good way. I would have no negative feeling if someone went, oh, I made an error. It would just be, I'd be going, oh, wow, that's okay. This person is someone who I can work with.
It was interesting being on a meeting with a a client this week who did an episode last year, and his kind of like feedback was like, yeah, like the episode it was okay. I wish we had to use more like graphics, and I thought it was kind of boring. I was like, okay, well, we're going to do a second one, and we're going to, and this hasn't been completely confirmed yet, but we're going to do a second one. We're going to plan it out. I'm going to then look at the topics. We're going to rearrange them to kind of hook people in, use a whole bunch of your content to really tell the story. And he's like, and his response is, well, I appreciate you taking that feedback, because I guess in my sense, I was like, yeah, if that's coming from the client, the old saying, the client's always right. If you want to do a second episode, well, let's do everything to improve on that first one, obviously, because and recognizing that you can, and I know for a fact we can do better. We have a better setup. We have more exceptional shots that we can do with the cameras. We can do it in person, all these things. And it was just interesting to see him go, yeah, that makes sense. Send this to me. Tell me what I'm going to get out of it, how we're going to put it together, and then we'll move to the next stages. And like you said, Jerrod, if you get that email, it is good to recognize when people are like, in this case, it was kind of like my more of like my error, but he still like understood, like, we can make this a lot better.
Was it a remote interview?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, we're not doing that. We're doing it in person.
If you're getting feedback from the client, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
And
if there's silence, if there's silence, they're unhappy and they're not giving you feedback, then they're not going to be your client much longer. So.
Yeah.
Well, Jerrod had a big one. We were giving out reports like for the episodes, and it's kind of like YouTube is still relatively new for a lot of these heavy industry companies. Jerrod's like, well, I've been getting on meetings with them, going over the data, going over the leads that they've gotten. I'm like, oh, nice. I started doing that. It's a game changer. Sometimes they don't even actually care that much. They want to talk about what they can do in the future. Yeah. But the fact that you'll have the call with them and you'll go over it, you'll even give them ideas on like what could make the next one better. They go, okay, nice, this is great. And like from like Jerrod saying about that, like Dennis and I are like, oh yeah, this is how you do it.
Well, they start building, right? Because once they start giving feedback, like you're saying, Rory, it's the silence that's the problem. If they're giving feedback, there is sort of this assumption that we're going to be doing something else, and they start kind of creating this vision of what they're doing. Just a side note, the customer is always right. I think that's a weak saying, because I think it's your job. Especially if you're doing something technical, it is your job to deliver something of value to the client, and they don't always know what they need. And that...
No, you're right, Jerrod.
What's that?
A better saying would be, it's always important to listen to the client.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a better saying.
Because
the old idiom, the customer is always right,
it's too much of a blanket statement.
Well, and it's just technical, right? Like, well,
but now you have to defend it because I said it. So how dare you?
Yeah, so I'm attacking you, Rory. It's okay. You guys attacked my health last week. Remember that? That was insane.
It's okay. Your skin's looking a little less pasty today.
Right, Ryan? It's insane. You can't say that to people. Pick on people's weight, their skin tone, Rory. Their skin tone?
Well, I refuse to comment on age, gender, health, appearance, weight.
All the above.
All those things are off limits.
I don't feel like age is off limits.
But it's funny because you seem a little tanned this time. Did you get some sun?
Jerrod was in the green room before the episode doing a little bronzer.
That's why he brought it up. He just wanted us to acknowledge the fact that he isn't as pale as
you didn't notice that Trump came out with a new skin line? No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry, I couldn't help that.
It's your favorite.
People would buy it. I could just see just
God,
orange people with a red hat everywhere.
Oompa Loompas.
Okay, sorry. I apologize.
Oompa Loompa crew.
Yeah. Rory, Rory, Mr. Bamford, let's move into your topic. This has been a weird episode. We've had a few ones.
This has been the smoothest one we ever had. Yeah. So, okay, Lenny's stats. Lenny is sick of your guys this week. He's like, what is going on? What is happening? He doesn't know. Inland Tar Part 3 roared past 27,000 views in a week, I believe. That's great. I was going to pull more stats, but I only had so much time for prep.
Rory, wasn't there an episode that... That's insane how close that looks. That's insane.
Yeah, it is.
That's pretty good.
Jerrod, what was your question?
I don't know. I have no idea what I was talking about now.
Okay, well, anyway. So,
No, Rory, didn't we have one that got like 90,000?
well, yeah, we've talked about that. Fleet Space is over 90,000 views.
Oh, sorry.
Biggest episode in the history of the world. No, not quite. But yeah, it's roaring. That one is roaring. It's like
So many views.
over 6,000 hours watched or something. Great episode. But yeah, so it's been fantastic seeing the bigger growth on the platform. It's
But one thing I've seen, Rory, and maybe you can confirm, but I mean, Crownsmen puts a show together and they promote it.
mm-hmm.
But if the client gets on board and promotes it, you know, there's more groups. Like you can sit back and let Crownsmen do it, or you can get involved and boost those numbers as well. So it's really a team. It's really a team effort when it comes to promoting.
It's a great point, Roy, because Holmes Attachments, they did a product promo that's reached I can't remember how many views. I think it's over 25,000 views now on our platform. I just went and saw that they'd shared it on their platform. They've got another 2,000 views on their YouTube. So like you're saying, all of a sudden you're reaching like just this giant amount of people. That's exactly right. When people take that, they kind of take the ball. They're like, okay, you guys are doing it. We're going to do it. And you just have this huge wave.
Well, SMS Equipment, aren't they getting like crazy?
I don't know what they're seeing on I don't know what they're seeing for, like, I can't see their numbers. I'm just seeing like over 100 people engaging with like a highlight.
Do you know?
Or it's spectacular.
You know what still frustrates me is a lot of our clients they're much older than Roy, and I want to stress that because we're, again, done with the age group. They are older than you, 95% of them.
Mm-hmm.
But for the few, what does happen sometimes, Roy's just going to sign off. He's just going to leave.
I'm not even going to ask where you pull these stats out of, because we could be getting into some health issues there.
Our top demographic is 90 plus, way older than Roy.
Oh boy, what was I going to say? Oh, is the confusion around it? So if back in the day, if you advertised in a magazine or you had an article written, there was one spot for it. There was one place. Now, we just had, Rory, one of the biggest companies in mining. I think they're huge. I just don't know if we should mention it because they emailed us, but they asked, can we reshare pictures of the content?
Oh yeah, don't say the name, but they asked if they had permission.
Like, so what you're saying, Roy, is like people, they don't even know that we'll send them a copy of the interview and they don't do anything with it.
Yeah.
They don't realize. But then they'll go and pay someone thousands of dollars to make a piece of content for them to use in-house. It's a real struggle with online content. They just don't realize. They're like, no, Crownsman does one little part. It's on YouTube, but then it goes out on our mass email and our social media, and it just gets shared. Like I'll share it on my what is it?
LinkedIn.
My page. Like my professional page. Rory shares it. Gowdy shares it. Then they can take it and then they can reshare it. They can upload chunks of it to their own YouTube channel. It's like overwhelming, and I don't think we've ever cracked that code on how to fully help people know what.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Jerrod, because I realized you had a personal page. I didn't realize it was professional.
Touche. Touche.
Calvin Klein will pay me for those pictures one day.
So, sorry, I
Your
think
health issues.
sometimes I can't do
That's
this.
just rude.
Shares
See,
it.
that's just
And
rude.
then-
That's not funny. That's just rude. It's just mean.
Roy, I was wondering why they never come back, and that's why Jerrod.
Yeah,
It's just gone.
yeah.
Hi.
That
Yeah.
explains so
It's
much.
post-production personal,
Okay, so we have to remove
pre-production
all
professional.
platforms.
My slogan is burgers, beer, and Calvin Klein.
Oh God.
2 out of 3 ain't bad, Jerrod.
I wonder how many people are now going to go search that.
We got to make sure we really tag the chapters in this one, Gowdy. People need to find this SEO.
Absolutely.
So marketing, Jerrod,
Editing for Carl.
like you alluded to it, but
Oh, no.
the history, you know, in the old days, we'd look at a magazine article, and if the CEO or the VP of marketing liked it, then they assumed other people would like it, and it went in the magazine. Okay. We had no idea. All we got was the circulation of the magazine is this.
Yeah.
So, and that's all the information.
Yeah, that's
we
it.
we didn't know, right? And you know, as far as TV goes, TV advertising, it was all about if there's 1 million viewers, hopefully a few thousand are interested in your ad, and hopefully 50 or 100 of them buy your product. Or, of course, it's much larger on a retail basis.
Yeah.
But
Roy,
we're at a point now where you can actually track how many people are watching and for how long, and how many people respond to what you put out there. So it's the evolution of marketing.
And one piece of content can be used in literally 50. We tried to make a chart once for how, because we were trying to like guide people, and it was just, there was lines everywhere of what you could do
Roy.
with one piece of content.
Yeah.
Where it can go. Yeah.
I think online, because if you look at the GDP and it kind of has exploded, like probably across the world. Do you think online is that the reason being is because online now has like an Australian company now can connect with a US company, no problem. Like it must have just like, I haven't looked at the stats. I need to pull those. The GDP must just be like, it must be a staggering uptick from like the time that online became so prevalent.
Well, Rory, you and I can go onto LinkedIn and direct message the CEO of Caterpillar.
Oh yeah. And we do.
If they're, we just go, hey, do you want to be on the show? They go, yeah, sure. Talk to the PR company or talk to okay, cool. We'll talk to them. We just have a conversation and book the episode. It's crazy. Like we could have
Which is
done
a
that.
good segue into our latest blog on Cranky Old Men Drinking Beer about spam.
You ignored my comment on that, Roy.
I did see your comment. The editor has chosen not to respond to that one.
I was thinking while I was writing it, I'm like, people are going to see. I'm like, what is wrong with this guy? They probably, if they haven't read the article, they wouldn't get all the whole thing.
I was going to respond. Is that the famous Jerrod from the Spamsman?
I found it.
That was a very
So
funny
the
article.
backstory there, for anyone that runs a website, you get spam, and usually what happens is the comments will have hidden or not so hidden links in them to promote different people's products. Binance is one of the groups that we get a lot of spam from.
Oh, good.
But out of 1,800 of them, we picked a few, and we don't respond to them in general, but we
It's a lot of spam.
put in theoretical or hypothetical responses if we were to respond to some of these.
Shout out to Costco. They have big bulk things of spam.
Oh, do you eat spam?
Me every day.
So I don't think I've ever actually ate spam.
I have.
I have not.
So
Have you?
yeah, because Filipinos, not all Filipinos, but a
Oh,
lot
that's
of
right. We
Filipinos,
talked about that on the show. Yeah.
yeah, they like spam. And so we'll go camping, and my wife and her family will slice up and they fry.
I had a Filipino renter and his girlfriend. They were just in there doing some nice
And
fried up
tastes
spam and eggs.
Good.
I can't.
It tastes good.
That was the best face for it tastes good.
Well, it's disgusting to eat it, but the taste is good.
Is it blended? Is it a milkshake pork frozen and then repackaged? Is that what it
It's
is?
pork with ham, salt, water, potato starch, sugar, and sodium nitrate.
Yeah, I'm not eating that.
How could you go wrong with that combination?
It's a wild ride, baby.
No, I have not actually eaten it. Roy, have you ever eaten it? Because I have not.
No, I haven't.
No.
I didn't know who bought it. I went camping with my wife's family. I found out who bought it.
I'm not a picky eater, but for some reason it never
Yeah, no.
ate our damn
For
round
some
table.
reason, because it's some weird thing in a can. Rory, what were you talking about?
Me?
Yeah, what was your topics? I don't even remember.
Well, so I really thought hard on this. I've been thinking about this for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Sorry.
And
He's stalling.
yeah, a year ago, you and I did a heavy duty look into our like personal finances because obviously it was tied directly into company finances. And yeah, I know it does make me sweat too. But I was just gonna put it out like how well to both of you for running a company, do you find that running like how your personal finances are run does directly affect or did directly affect the company? Because like I know for us, like basically every month, Jerrod, since we like updated how we were managing, it really did impact like how we were able to grow because all of a sudden it was freeing up huge amounts of cash. And just to be frank, it was when Jerrod and I started, it was like you use lines of credit cards, you do whatever it takes to kind of keep everything in motion. But at a certain point, you have to look at that and go, okay, time to put an end to this. To the bleeding, so to speak, and actually grow properly.
We used to generate like $500 off an episode.
Yeah, you found the old media package.
I don't know how I got this body by $500 an episode because how could I afford?
A lot of spam.
I think it's the spam.
That's how you do it.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, we know, Jerrod.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay.
You may not, but we know.
Now I need to get like really fit. So I'm like, by the way,
I'm jacked.
I'm jacked. Then everybody hates you for a whole different reason.
At least there's a reason.
Oh man.
But yeah, that was my.
Rory, I will say this. I do think it's a mistake is where people they think they should dump all the money back into the company to grow it, especially on the small business side. Well, of course, on the small business, big companies, you can't do it at scale. So for small business, and you should, as soon as you can, you should start paying yourself and trying to, because and sometimes you can't, sometimes you just have to starve. That's part of the thing. But it's an error. If you're going home and all the financials you're concerned about, then you go to work and the financials you're concerned. It just goes on and on and on. You need to try to give yourself. I think you're almost better sometimes to have a little less staff and work a little bit longer if you have to. Mm-hmm. Which is Rory, what we kind of did later on. We did these cutbacks. These are a few years ago, and make a living. Like this whole like starve till your company makes it. I think it's a really dangerous game to play. That's my thought on it, and a mistake a lot of people make.
Yeah, I think and to echo that, I think because then you've got the financial stress personally, then you've got the financial stress in the company, and if you're not managing the cash that's coming in correctly, and we like you just have it starts compounding backwards, and you end up with more problems. The one thing I'll say is like since last July when we did it and we started like tackling it, is we've been able to plan out basically like even trips and travel. Mm-hmm. And like if you're going to Australia, you're talking huge money just for the plane ticket. Well, if you're booking that way in advance, well, you're getting the best deal on that. You're saving $1,000 just right there because you've managed your cash flow better. So I think that's a big aspect of it. And then basically what I've seen like over the last 12 months is the more that's been managed better, then it just helps spur the growth because you're not actually thinking then if you're doing your day to day and you're doing that work, you're not actually thinking about your personal finances. You don't have to worry about it. You're going, who's going to be that next person that we're doing a partnership with?
Listen to this guy.
I don't know what.
Worry about his personal finance. Whatever, man. Some of us don't make that much money, jerk.
The
audience.
Roy,
Good one, Jerrod. You put him in his place there, yeah.
Oh my God.
Roy, I don't know
Why
what
you
you're-
look at me? I don't want any.
I'm trying to get like, come on, everybody.
Just because everybody,
Get 'em.
after you.
Roy, I don't know what your thoughts
I'd be,
are.
I'd,
I
be,
mean,
I'd be a good communist. I'd be like, those people have the money. Get them. Get them.
Oh, gee.
I was trying to ask Roy like his thoughts on like the intersectionality between personal.
Rory needs to
personal and
Can we create a
client.
glossary of all the words Rory comes up with?
Yeah.
Well, at
I
least
think the key to success for any entrepreneur is vocabulary. Command of the English language, I think, is crucial. Yeah.
Forward to this beer so much, but with the amount of sleep I've had, I'm just like, wow.
he just said
like nothing.
intersectionality, not ironically.
Yeah.
He said it for real.
I changed intersection to intersectionality on purpose.
Yeah. I didn't really say it right. He kind of tried to say
Yeah.
it. Roy, what do you think?
Rory, I just want to make sure everyone's clear. We're not questioning Rory's intersexuality.
He's got that.
Anyway, yeah, there is no question there.
Rory, do you think you should take, how quickly, what do you think of it? Do you think should you get paid? Should you make money when you run a business?
The notes I wrote down risk appetite because I think it's different for everyone. And what happened with me is I was in the industry for about 8 or 9 years before I had 2 partners and we had a business. So I had a certain standard of living. I was making money. So when I went into that partnership, I took a percentage of the company plus a salary. That was my basis for building that part of the company.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my risk appetite at the time. I wasn't prepared to sacrifice my lifestyle, so to speak, for additional percentage of the company. So that's the deal I made with our partners.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
And so I get to that where you talk about risk appetite. And I think for everyone it's different. For some people, yeah, I mean, put all your money in because you see this huge thing happening in the future. For other people, well, I've got a family, I've got a mortgage, I've got certain commitments, and so I've got to look at it differently. So I don't know if you can really generalize, but I think the journey is different for everyone.
Yeah, I guess it comes from the stage too that you go into it at. If you start a company at 40 and you've got a couple kids already and you've got that, you're gonna have to look at things differently on again what the risk appetite is. It's the same that I see in investing, right? Like if you're 80 years old investing compared to me, I mean I can do some crazy stuff. To some people be like, that's crazy. But I don't have to worry about it because my risk appetite can be so high in the investing world because I have such a long runway, or at least I hope I do.
I hope you do too, Rory.
Oh boy.
We all do, Rory.
Emotional.
Gowdy's really
Our
silent.
hopes and prayers are with you.
Now we're joking about people dying on the show.
Just you always have to look out for those buses at the crosswalk.
There's different ways to die on this show, Jerrod. I think we've experienced all of them today.
I think we've really gone through the ringer today.
Yeah.
Rory, what's on your mind? What's on your heart today as we wrap up the day of disaster that was this interview?
I had 2 things.
Nice.
Yeah. Is that me you're asking?
That's you, yeah, Mr. Roy Slack.
I had two things I wanted to comment on. One, happy Father's Day. This will go out after Father's Day, but this is a few days before, so I hope you guys have a great Father's Day. The second thing I wanted to touch on was partnerships, and I think that's a topic on its own on the show. I mean, it's Crownsmen Partners, and you guys, have a successful partnership. More and more, if it's if someone's in an entrepreneurial position, very few people go it alone, and you have a partner, and often it's someone that you've worked with for a long time. But when you do an acquisition or when you grow the company, often you start to deal with new partners, and that's that's an eye opener. And there's I think there's some lessons learned there, but maybe that's a topic for a future show.
Can we put that? Yeah, can we put that for next week, Roy, as a topic, or the next episode?
Sure.
Because that would be, especially the acquisition. That I'm going to hold back because we could just go down all types of trails with that.
We should kind of bring in some more meat to that, because it is really good, especially in a scale up time for a business. It starts if you're bringing on capital partners. You're going to be restructuring companies and shares, all that.
The whole concept of partners has changed too, because in our industry, we have partnerships with indigenous groups.
Yep.
We have partnerships with suppliers. And what's happening in the States right now is you're going to see groups in partnership with government, which is unique in our industry. It hasn't really happened before. I mean, there was one operation in Quebec where the government got involved and helped fund it. But as we get into critical minerals and some different things, so the whole partnership model, has kind of evolved over the years, and there's lots of facets to it.
Well, that'll be a fun one for next year. We're teasing the audience for next.
In a couple weeks. Yeah, in a couple weeks.
Yeah, Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible.
Well, you're talking about partnership and taking a percentage. That's what he does. And man, talk about. But when that goes back to if you're taking, if your partner, he knows what he brings in, so he's okay with not getting paid up front.
Sure.
He knows I'm going to jump out of an airplane.
He knows how much did they make the last movie?
Mm-hmm.
How much did Mission Impossible? It's something crazy.
Mission implausible.
Implausible, yeah. Oh, when he breaks his ankle jumping across that thing. Oh. Have you seen that one, Roy?
I'm not a big fan. My wife loves those movies. And the last one she went to with her sister. Her sister was visiting, and so that was good because I didn't have to sit through it.
Well, there's a behind-the-scenes one where he jumps between one building to another, so it's a real stunt. And when he misses, so he hits the side of the building, grabs, and then he uses his foot to get it, but when his foot impacts on the side of the wall, it just snaps his ankle, and then he crawls over and goes limping off.
Okay, and I've got some inflation numbers for you, because we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Mission Impossible. So the first one was $80 million production budget, $457 million in worldwide box office. This is in 1996. So the take home on that for the studio was half of that, so 225.
Damn.
Over 225. This last one so far, this is actually kind of funny. So May 23rd it came out. Oh, this is going to do way bigger numbers. The production budget though, $400 million.
Yeah.
Worldwide box office to date is $450 million. So the take home right now is $225. So it needs to make over $1 billion to break even.
Wow.
In the movie theaters, which it probably will, but that's a wild difference from 80 to 400.
I think that's the last one though. I think he's done. I think it was a 3-hour movie or something. I think it's wrapped up, right?
But apparently he said he wants to do movies until he's over 100, and he's being a Christian Scientologist. I'm sure he's got some great science to make that happen.
There's a concept in Hollywood and movie making in general about suspension of disbelief. which is how far can you go before the audience says, well, that's ridiculous.
Right.
And different people have different disbelief tolerances. Now I'm talking from risk tolerance to disbelief, but my disbelief tolerance is pretty low. And I like to see a movie that I can say, yeah, that could happen in real life. And so I struggle with the.
If it doesn't, it's fantasy. It's like Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter. But when it's like trying to be like real life with like some of the stuff, it's like, this is just so absurd.
Yeah, but I love a good movie like a Kingsman or something where it's so absurd.
Well, Kingsman, that's a comedy.
Right. Yeah. It's
a spoof. I mean,
That was so good.
Yeah.
So absurd that like, okay.
That was a great movie.
Okay.
That I forget that actor's
Austin
name.
Powers.
Austin Powers, yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Roy, what's give us a beer review? Oh no, we gotta rate it first.
You gotta rate it.
I wouldn't buy it again. I wouldn't go out and buy this.
Oh, you're just trashing the first beer I pick.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
it's just a beer. It's actually I don't like it. I don't like it that much. No. That's not like
Just crushed it.
yeah.
Well, crush that. I can't do that.
Wow.
Can't do that. I don't want to like spill more of the beer.
yeah, just don't even try that on the screen, Rory. That's just embarrassing.
Remember the guys, Jerrod, like their thing was like smash on the forehead. Ridiculous. The I would say I give it a strong 11.
Wow. A lot of hate.
It's pretty good.
So-
no, that's good.
So
11.
I'll tell you a story. Okay, I'll tell you a story. Is when we were on a field trip to the States. Okay, when we were in school, and so we had bought a bunch of American beer, and the cans were at that time pretty flimsy. One of the guys, a really tough guy, he was a fighter. His nickname was the Axe Murderer, and this is how tough this guy was. Anyway, he goes off to the washroom, and a buddy of mine goes, "Watch this." He takes the can, crushes it under his heel, brings it up. When the Axe Murderer comes back from the washroom, my buddy goes, "Huh." Crushed can. The other guy goes, "Holy jeez," takes the can. He had a big ring in his head for the whole rest of the trip. Nobody had the nerve to tell him what had happened. Anyway,
Oh no.
beer review time.
Well, we'll call that one a tame story from those types of trips. We won't get into ours. All right.
Well, I've just cleaned that up.
Roy, how do you rate this horrible beer?
So to start with, this is one of my favorite types of beer. Okay? But
Yeah, I like an amber ale too.
Yeah, me too.
But you know, I thought the caramel or the toffee flavor was okay, but the finish was really flat on it.
And amber
It just didn't. Yeah, it just kind of petered out, and it was unfortunate because it had a good start to it, but it doesn't have any kind of a finish. Whether it's I mean, this is an ale, so you expect maybe a little bit of crispness or a little bit of bitter or something.
Yeah.
But it just kind of petered out.
reminded me of a lager.
I don't know. I'd have, maybe a 12 or a 13. I do like the flavor.
Yeah.
It's missing something. It's just not all there.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, sorry,
Oh,
Vancouver
some-
Island
it's
Brewing.
missing
We hate you. We hate you.
Oh boy.
But Rory, thank you very much for sending it.
I know the juice.
And I look forward to sampling some of the other beers you sent.
We need to find a good beer by them because this was a little brutal.
Yeah, that's.
I did like their lager. Their lager was good.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And you know, on the West Coast Business Show, it's going to be like them. He's like, I recognize you from something.
Yeah.
Wait, the West Coast Business Show? What do
It's
you
going
mean?
to be like the CEO is going to like come
Oh,
on or
yeah.
something.
Yeah, we're gonna get one of the brewers on it, and we're gonna have like just eviscerated,
Yeah.
eviscerated.
That's your problem.
All right.
Yep.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. This. I don't think this episode will make it into our top 5.
This was the rating for this episode.
A Lenny rating.
Yeah. Lenny took
Do
over.
you have a Lenny with a frown?
Upside down.
You have a Lenny with a smile turned upside down?
Oh, gross.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, that's a Lenny with one eyebrow. That's what that is.
Hey, that's what I get. All right, well, this is not going to get... By the way, Zarina, I know this is terrible because she did not laugh once.
No.
Unibrow running.
She didn't look over here. She was just like, I'm done.
He's like, I don't want to be part of this.
No, I was just
You guys suck.
Remember, Zarina, low register when you lie.
that is true. That is
She
true.
can't lie.
I can't lie.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
sorry, folks. We'll see you on the next episode of The Crownsmen Show.